Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. As you guys may have seen in an earlier video, I went to northern Wyoming to pick up an International 4500B forklift, and I didn't show much of the work I did to it, unfortunately. Just wasn't enough time to do filming. However, I thought I'd show you guys what I've done and what I still need to do on this thing, and a little bit of information and history about it. So this forklift is an International 4500B. It's the later series of the 4500s. These were made in the late 70s through 1981, I believe. What it is underneath, it's an International 454 agricultural tractor, basically, converted into a forklift and turned around backwards. So when you're looking for engine and drivetrain parts, a lot of the pieces are shared with an International 454 ag tractor. It's kind of convenient, a lot easier to find than searching for forklift stuff, because there's not going to be much listings in a lot of parts books, and dealers aren't going to have information on it. The engine in this machine is an International D179. It's a 3-cylinder diesel direct injection engine, and it's shared on a lot of the ag tractors. And these engines were actually made up even into the late 90s, so parts aren't too hard to get for these. The mast used on this is made by a company called Harlow, the same company that converts the tractors into forklifts. Now, Harlow would buy up John Deere, Massey Ferguson, Allis Chalmers, International, J.I. Case, all kinds of other Ford, other tractor companies, and they would convert their different ag tractors into forklifts, and they would be sold at those dealers. And the mast is pretty good, tough mast. There actually a variant of it is still made today, sold under the Harlow name. They're based on a John Deere tractor nowadays, and they actually are available with four-wheel drive. The mast, this one here is a 21 foot. They were available in, I believe, 28 foot and 21 foot and 14 foot, and I think there was a 10 foot. Being the 21, it's kind of a nice one where my mast is still under 10 feet tall when on the ground. The 28 footers, the mast was pretty darn tall and kind of hard to transport. But it's one cylinder that does all the lifting, and then you can see the chains there. Unfortunately, when you start lifting, the top of the mast immediately starts to grow. So if I'm carrying something only a few inches off the ground, the mast is already 10 feet tall, and going through a 10-foot door can be a challenge. And that's one of the big downsides to this. However, being a rough terrain forklift, I can drive across dirt and rocks, whatever, and it doesn't really care. Unlike the warehouse forklifts that kind of sink and get stuck real easy. The forks used on this thing, they're 4-inch wide forks rated for 4,000 pounds. So it's a little bit limited. I wish I could get 6,000 pounds, but the actual mast assembly is only rated for 4. I do have a set of fork extensions that can give me 6 foot worth of forks to work with, which is kind of nice. And this frame, the hydraulic cylinders, the side shift cylinder, that's all Harlow. A lot of the sheet metal used, you can tell the fenders are definitely IH. Some of the sheet metal's IH, some of it's Harlow. All the valving, levers, that sort of thing are all Harlow. But they do share some parts. Harlow's not very good about their getting parts. In fact, they wouldn't even talk to me about this thing. They claim that service and parts for these have been discontinued for 30 years, yet I managed to find a lot of the parts through case dealers, so that was inaccurate information, or maybe the person I talked to just wasn't really well versed on the old stuff. The transmissions used on the later ones are all torque converter transmissions, the same one used in the International backhoes and industrial tractor loaders. Got your forward and reverse lever. You've got the same diff lock used on the ag tractors, since it's the same rear end. Got your fuel gauges, temp gauge, charging gauge, oil pressure gauge, and I believe they're very similar, if not the same, as the ones used on the ag tractors. Got a horn button over here. It's got up, down, tilt, side shift. And we got a torque converter temperature gauge and torque converter pressure gauge down here. Excuse me, transmission pressure gauge down here. Got the original lubrication chart, which is pretty cool to have. I'm hoping I can find some new old stock ones of these to have scanned so that I can have a reproduction if I do decide to paint this one. If you remember when I drug this thing home from Wyoming, or actually I tried to load it up in Wyoming, it wouldn't move under its own power because it had such a bad hydraulic leak that it was down about 10 gallons on transmission oil and wouldn't move. But since then, I managed to find the cylinder kit. The actual Mast cylinder was leaking very bad. I managed to find one through JIK's and got that replaced. It was pretty expensive. It was almost $450 for just that Mast cylinder seal. But that fixed most of my leaks. I did have a couple other little ones. One other leak I was having was the steering cylinder. It's still leaking. I haven't fixed it. You can see a little puddle forming from the drips there. This is the same steering cylinder used on the International backhoes. There's one place I have found where you can get this seal kit. They've got them on eBay, but you can contact them directly and get a little bit better price. With the torque converter transmission, you've got 3 speeds. There's your shifter here along the side of the seat. And then you normally have a high and low shifter that comes out of the floor right here. However, the high-low in this tractor is bad, and someone has removed the entire shifter mechanism. So I am either going to have to make a new shift rod or do some searching and find one. I haven't had any luck yet finding a used one, but still looking. This one has a kind of an interesting backup alarm here. It's a little bell, and it rings when you are in reverse, and in forward it just clicks. It's kind of cool. No idea if this Hobbs meter's right, but according to this has 2,400 hours on it. Not too bad. And I bought this thing at an auction in Wyoming. It belonged to a construction company beforehand, and not really sure its backstory before then. But it was well used, but not too abused. Most of these things are beat to death when I find them. I'm very thankful I found this one with the 21-foot mast, the diesel engine, and the torque converter transmission, just like I wanted. I'm glad I held out because I passed up a couple other ones that were in a little worse shape or had a different transmission or a smaller mast, but I'm real happy with this one. Glad I waited. Some of the things I've done to it since it's been back, obviously I fixed the mast seal. That was kind of a big project. Got a new battery for it. Got a replacement seat. This seat was a eBay purchase, kind of a universal forklift seat, and it's actually really nice, and it comes with sliders on it for adjusting. It sets a little bit high on this particular machine because I put it on top of the original mounts, but I'm a little bit taller, so it works for me. Another thing that was done, replaced all the broken and missing lenses up on the lights. Somebody moved the headlights up top, which actually works pretty well. However, the originals that were down here in the fenders, I did go ahead and get some original style fender lights, and I'm going to hook them both up so I have 4 headlights on this one. During transport home, one of these forks actually fell off and landed on the deck of the trailer. Thankfully didn't fall off the trailer, but these spring-loaded pins right here for sliding the forks over and locking them in place, one was missing and the other one's kind of bent. I managed to find new old stock and original ones. I've got one other new pin for this side on the way, but that's kind of nice to have fixed. And put a bolt in the side of it so the forks don't rattle their way off during transport. Since I had it, I've also done a complete transmission flush and refilled with the original viscosity ultra action, which is what used to be International's High-Tran formula. And I have done oil change, fuel filters, oil filters, air filters, all that to bring it up to current and serviced. When I drug it home, the throttle pedal was really sloppy and didn't return to idle. You'd have to pull it up with your foot. And the throttle spring had broken, but I managed to find a one that worked pretty good for McMaster car. Unfortunately, the original was no longer available, and there's none out there to be had. I still need to route a steel tubing back to the engine for the ether injection, and I'll put a new ether can in there just for that cold weather starting if need be. The engine starts and runs pretty darn good, but it does smoke a bit, and some mornings it can be a little cantankerous in the cold. I do plan to do a valve adjustment in this thing. It should improve things quite a bit. And I'm going to check the fuel filters one more time. Run some fuel injector cleaner with lubricant in it. That should help out quite a bit with this old Bosch VA injection pump. Because you cannot get some new parts for these things, including the heads. And once they're toast, they're toast. So we want to preserve this one as long as we can. Originally, I believe these had a Lucas alternator on it. Someone has converted this one to a Delco 10SI, which is probably a really good swap. So I'm going to leave that alone. It's a much better alternator than Lucas ever was. So just like with the International backhoes, the tractor these are based off of is built in Doncaster, United Kingdom, over in England. And they would build what's called a skid unit, which consisted of rear axle, a rear transmission, rear end, engine, sometimes a front axle. You could get them in various assemblies, but then they were shipped over to the U.S. Now the backhoes were shipped to have backhoes built on the chassis, and of course these were shipped to Harlow to be built. So underneath here, you've basically got a 74 or 84 series agricultural tractor. A lot of the axles interchange, transmission interchanges, rear end's the same. So that's kind of nice for sourcing parts, although not a lot of ag tractors had a torque converter transmission. So that's a little different, but a lot of that stuff's still available through Case IH. This is the hydraulic and transmission filter. It's located on the right side of the machine underneath the operator's platform. And this takes a Fleetguard HF4000 filter. It's the same as what the ag tractors used and readily available. I gotta say, this is definitely worth the money I spent on it. I'm super happy with this machine. Ever since getting the main leaks fixed and getting it serviced, I have used this thing probably more than any of my other IH machines. So handy. Can't believe I've gone this long without it. I've even bought some accessories like fork extensions and a hook that goes in between the forks to lift engines, and it's been great. No regrets here. Real happy with it. Let's take it for a quick drive. So if you've got any questions or concerns about your International 4500 series, you can hit me up on the Red Power Forum. I've got a thread about this thing, and feel free to comment or ask questions or read through it, because there's a lot of good information, including part numbers and other resources for components on these and some of the work I've done on this. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.